Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Sorry for no videos Friday. As I said, my voice was gone for pretty much all of, I would say, Friday. Well, and it didn't get much better over the weekend, and still, it's not much better. It's better now, but it was rough. It was a rough weekend. Let's put it that way. And then hopefully it doesn't start getting out during this video, but we'll find out. I just cannot not have videos being done here. So what are this video is going to be about is going to be the Buffalo schools incident. There is an update up is what's going on. I maybe leave the unsubscribed podcast, which the actual video that they put down will be in the description down below, so you guys can view that. So what we have here is that the Buffalo schools has a lot more crazier things that's been going on. So obviously, the first thing that we have is since September 2021, BPD responded to Buffalo schools 17,772 times. So that's crazy. So that's not good. That is not what we would deem as a good thing for a school to have that many number of calls. So it's not great. And apparently what we also have here as well is a bit more other things that are as related to. So what we had here is that we had one of the board members named Paulette Woods has said, "Shut the F up, bitch," because, she's unhinged. She's a psychopath, and you can see this video here of kind of what she's doing here. It's interesting to say the least.
Throw up the video of the Honorable Paulette Woods slamming her glass of wine, then flipping off the school board and saying, "Shut the f up, bitch," repeatedly. She then goes on to say that never happened, and I'm going to sue whoever says I did it.
Yeah, so very good person here, a fantastic person. Paulette Woods is a great board member, but it gets worse, guys, because what we have here is a black pastor pretty much saying that high-tech lynching vid and stuff like that, this is something like, that's been going on. Yeah, so he says this is nothing but a high-tech lynching, which is bloody wild in every regard. It just goes to show that, again, these people are creating these narratives, these crazy things here, and I don't know what else to tell people. It's insane.
It's unacceptable that after giving an apology to our colleagues and constituents, that you choose to do a public high-tech lynching of a black woman.
Yeah, so obviously you can tell here the school board and the people on this are quite insane. And as you can also see, it's just all black people there. So there's another great admission to that. Along with them as well wearing these masks, which makes them look more like clowns. So yeah, that's what we have. And now another thing that we could go out and say here is that it doesn't end here. All right, so we have this continuance to where the school doesn't seem to be reporting crimes or any other type of other things that's been going around in it. As we have here, there was a kid that was actually stabbed, and it was going around, and the school was hiding it, from what I gathered, what was reported from the unsubscribed podcast that was going on. And there was I may believe a teacher of that record that announced this like months prior to all of this happening, and said this was going to happen through this door, and essentially it happened. Essentially that's exactly what happened, and this is the whole report and the situation about it.
Stab from a knife that was snuck in through that door, and then they denied it.
Oh, I have the footage, yeah. So in the footage, the teacher actually wrote up a thing, and I looked into him. He's the union rep for that school. Okay, so he wrote up a thing like, "Hey, I've had students bring in large knives into the school. They get them through school security because these schools have metal detectors or some screening process. They're getting them in through this door that's not locked and has a bad door." And he wrote every school board member and sent it to him repeatedly for, I believe it was like 19 months that he kept pushing it.
God. Was the reply, "F you, bitch"?
He apparently in their process, you have to push it up the chain of command, and there's 3 levels to get something approved. The first level was denied, and that's just like your direct administrator. He denied it. It's like, no, it's not a problem. He appealed it, and pushed it up to the school board, and the school board denied it. Then he was still pushing to have it reviewed a third time, and then it's on the superintendent. Between the second and third time, the stabbing at Riverside happened. That he was trying to get the issue fixed before it became a potentially fatal issue. And then they magically approved it on the third iteration after somebody had to get stabbed.
Which is what he complains about. He says,
Yeah, it just seems the school board and the school in general are a complete incompetence, and it doesn't seem like it doesn't see, guys. You think it gets this is just like the end of it all, right? You think this is the end of it all, but no, it's not. So the man goes out and raises all hell towards the school board of this going on here because he's rightfully angry. I would also be angry if I've been saying that there was kids bringing weapons or knives to school, and I've been telling you for practically 2.5 years, give or take, and you do nothing, and then it actually happens. Yes, I would be also livid. I would be fuming. In fact, I would probably be wanting you to get arrested because of this exact situation, because I've been telling you for at least 2 years that this was going to happen, and it happened. You didn't listen to me. That would infuriate me to all end. So without further ado, here's the video of this man literally slamming into the school board, which I love because it just needs to happen.
I want to be clear that all the time we spend here in this fantasy land world, when students at Riverside are getting stabbed, there's fights there every single day. 911 is called on a regular basis, and no one has even come into the school and had a meeting like this and talked to parents and talked to teachers and talked to our students and said, how can we protect? Excuse me, this is my time. This is my time,
You're going to
sir.
receive more time, but
This is my time, sir.
If you would have came to me and told me a situation about a knife, at that point, I would have called the authorities and took the proper action with the
Okay, know what you asked me? I can refresh your memory if you want.
Mr. Hurd, the speaker has the floor.
I told you about the knife.
The speaker has the floor.
Thank you. I filed a grievance 19 months ago, and it was very detailed. In that grievance, I talked about how a student brought a knife in the side door. It's written in the grievance, which I sent to you all. Guess what? The student who, the non-student who stabbed the student in our school, guess what door they came in? That same door. And they were in the building that day, and no one even told us. The DA had to tell us on the news. We had to do our own investigation. So there's a student with most likely a weapon in our building, and no one's sharing that with us. I'm gonna say this. This district has done nothing, and I told you, what's it gonna take? Someone getting stabbed or shot to have someone come in the building? And that's exactly what it takes, because no one has lifted a finger for security at Riverside High School. It's a dog and pony show every single time. You send in people for a week, it disappears, and then it's a disaster again. These kids and these teachers deserve better. And if you can't do the job, then all of you should have the dignity to resign and let someone else do it.
Thank you, Mr. Bruno.
Yeah. So this is a problem here, right? This is what we have an issue with the school board, and I love that this man laid the hammer down onto the school board, rightfully so. Now, here's one thing that I've noticed one thing here. Notice how the entirety or the majority of the school board is black, and majority of this school board happens to be I don't know, black women. And it seems that these black women have this superiority complex or this issue here. Now, granted, there are other people here as well. There are a couple of white people, maybe 2 or 3 at max, but majority is black and majority is also women. And you have it to where they have this. The reason why I bring this up is because we know that this school is already left-winging and far left in the beginning with. This is what the school is. They have this other problem. And then when I'm trying to correlate this too, so you have these black people, particularly on their high horse, that they can be allowed to do anything that they want because we're putting black people on such a high regard that they can't be attacked or anything, that they start acting like this. So this is the reason why I think if you do this in a race, whether it's white, Hispanic, or etc., I think this is going to help make anybody of that particular group or race act like a higher authority or majority than this is. And we all know how black women act, right? They're like the ghetto black women, and this is how this is going here. So the school board is not answering this. They're not doing anything. And and it's a problem. Now, the other issue that we have here is that the school is also bullying and intimidating its own teachers, its own employees. This is asinine here. So what we have is just a complete, total disregard for their own staff, the own kids that are there, and they even go out and to bully their own teachers to intimidate them. It's wild. Take a look at this.
You're 2 decades into your career at this point, and you've never been written up in 20 years.
All of
Never.
a sudden, instantly.
Oh, getting called down to the administrator's office. And the odd thing about these write-ups, they weren't anything. They had no backing. It was just to intimidate me. I mean, it just got crazy. I just pulled it up before I got on with you, and I have this document. It's like every other day we were getting called down. And I got to the point where my phone would ring in my classroom, and I would get sick and I would puke. Because I would literally go to the bathroom and puke because I was being tormented every day and supposed to teach kids at the same time. And it makes you physically ill because I'm not used to treating people this way. Ever. And I'll tell you what, it started then, and up until a month and a half ago, it has not stopped. They have not stopped retaliating against me, and it's almost gotten worse.
So yeah, as you can see here, that there were so-called them intimidating the employees. So you can't really blame too much for the teachers here, because the teachers are also getting bullied and intimidated by the actual school board and written up for something pointless. So again, you can't really blame the teachers all too much because, well, this is what's been going on. Now, there are some bad actors, there are some bad teachers here, and it seems like the school only supports bad teachers, but you also have really good teachers here as well, and that was not mix that up. Now, the other thing that we have here, there's also something called the Brady list, which I'm not going to go over. You guys can watch the podcast for what that's been going on there. I'm only just going to go over the actual things that the school is doing. So again, now we have something else. You know, the whole kidnapping story that I reported on a few weeks ago. Well, there's more to the story. So what we have is with the story is this. This is from the Buffalo Schools THC incident, and it says here, rooms without being followed in their office. After a minute of standing there, a male walked up to me who was one of the principals, was asking what I was doing. I responded with, "We were called here," which was responded to with a, "Oh yeah." He pointed at the two males who were unattended on a bench. I asked a few questions to the principal, where he responded with either "I don't know" or "I can speak on that moment. Mind you, I'm in uniform." I then asked the kids a few questions. The kiddos they got them from the gym teacher who found them on the floor. I was then finally able to speak with the principal in charge, I guess. She brought me into her office and picked up a book on her desk. And underneath it was an edible package edible package. Underneath it, I'll place an attachment of what the package looked like, not exact damn near it. It was a package of 10 gummies, 500 milligrams each. Yes, 500 milligrams each. The first child ate 6, and the other ate 4. So what this is not really the kidnapping story, but this is what we have here, the kids eating gummies, which they OD'd on the gummies, and the whole situation got way out of hand. In fact, they didn't even call they didn't even do anything. They didn't even let the actual ambulance in for at least 15, 20 minutes, which is asinine, because if a kid is overdosing, or if anybody is overdosing for that matter, that's a massive problem. You got to get in there and you got to solve that issue. It goes on to say there that after taking vitals on the children, the SRO showed up. Now, mind you, I'm all with law enforcement, Buffalo. They really help out on calls. I love them. This IRSO looked me dead in my effing eyes and said, "Do they have to go? They look fine," and they continued to try and talk me and my partner out of taking them. At first, I was confused on what was going on, but with all this cover-up stuff, it makes more sense, because the SRO just left to the principal that had the gummy package. Then the SRO had a second officer arrive, and he was immediately disrespectful to this patrol officer. "I don't need you. Why'd you even show up?" Shaking his head with the entire time. After transporting the two kids to the hospital, I personally spoke with their parents after they arrived, waiting 45 minutes for them. They were told by the school that the gym teacher found them on the floor and gave them to the kids, thinking they were just candy. So, yeah, but it was not just candy. Now, this is what the package actually looks like, and you can probably tell that, yeah, sure, this might not look like actual candy or whatever, but be as it may, if it's just gummy bears, it won't harm you. But these kids are like 11 to 12. They may have never even seen marijuana or THC package or what have you. So we'll give the kids some slack here, all right? Well, they may have not known, which is fine. I didn't even know this, so that's fine. But again, this is a problem here that's been an issue, right? And it just goes to show that that these teachers is insane. And again, we have another thing here that says the parents were distraught that the school would lie to them about their child ingesting drugs in their school. I pushed them towards filing lawsuits, contacting lawyers, nagging the police for the reports, reaching out to the board at least to see what more information they could get. I made sure to write a hell of a narrative for it in case a lawsuit comes out. I told them I would speak on their behalf if I got called into court. Just a really weird situation with everything going on right now. It's starting to make more sense. I have a couple more situations from the schools with medical issues, like me waiting 9 minutes in my cell ambulance with a kid actively seizing after telling the school members multiple times I need faculty member to ride with us to take guardianship of the child, and took 2 attempts to get anyone to come out. So that's what we have here. So this is the kids that were overdosing, etc. So this is the problem. Now, again, this is the school pretty much just being crazy and just not doing their jobs, and honestly, almost like it's risking every kid's lives imaginable. Now, here's another thing. We have it to where that was not the only thing that they did. So a kid passed out at their school, and they absolutely did nothing. They refused to do anything to help this kid. It took a lot of struggle to help this kid, and they didn't even want to call the police. They didn't want to call 911. They end up said you have to call the administrator before you call 911. They call the administrator, and the administrator says, no, don't call anyone, which is asinine to me. And then we had to call the parents, and the parents finally took their kid to the actual emergency room, to the hospital, and the kid wasn't back for a full week. We don't know the medical diagnosis or what was the cause of it, but this is the actual incompetence and honestly corruption at the school. They're not even helping their kids at all.
Another school in the city, the music teacher had a student that passed out cold. And this was probably like a 6th grader. She ran over to my room, the teacher, and she said, so-and-so just passed out on the floor. I can't wake him up. Come help. I went over there. I'm like, we got to call the police. So we called the rule is you have to call an administrator before you call police. You have to. So we call the administrator, and the administrator says, you are not calling anybody. We're going to call the mother and have her come over. And me and this teacher are like, what are you talking about? Like, we can't wake the kid up. Like, we need an ambulance here now. No. The principal came down to our room and stood there while this kid is passed out. Passed out. No ambulance, nothing. Do you think that's crazy? Mom finally shows up. I don't even remember how it ended. I know Mom was motherfucking everybody, and shame on me. I was younger back then. But there's always this idea, like you're always scared of, like, you're going to get literally, I don't know what ruling the administrators have, but there's something that they do that you are scared shitless.
Do you remember what ended up happening with the girl? Like, why she passed out? I mean, did she get to the hospital eventually?
She did get to the mom brought her to the hospital. Yeah. And I remember she was back in the building the following week. So.
I mean, she was out of school for days after this.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they probably didn't double back to let you know what the medical issue was. But regardless, I mean, that girl could have been ODing on drugs, and it took, 30 minutes, 45 minutes to get mom, drive there from work, pick her up, drive her to the hospital rather than just calling the ambulance?
Yeah, it was probably a good, I would say it was about 20 minutes. I think it was about 20 minutes. It was awful. Awful. Like, we could not wake this student up.
All right, so yeah, what you have here is just the mere fact of they're not really doing anything to help the student, and anything being active to not to endanger the student in every regard by not calling the police and only calling the parents and having this kid just be unconscious for X period of time. Like I said, we do not know this kid's medical condition. Obviously, the parents would not relay that to the school, and I would not believe why the parent would want to relay that to the school at all, anyways. So that being said, that's insane. So this school, as you can see here, corruption is just major with this school. It's just major. There's more going on in the podcast, but like I said, that's up for you guys to just decide or go to. Again, it will be in the description down below. But I know this video is long, but there's a little bit more that I need to do. So what we have here is that we have a little bit more. So it's been such a problem within the community that they wanted to force the Erie County DA to resign because he's not been protecting kids being SA'd. So so the reason why they want this guy to resign is because he's not helping kids that being allegedly SA'd, so they want him to resign. It's already, as you can see here, already has 4,028 signatures. So as you can see here, this is already a problem. Now, we'll go on to the other problem here that we have within this school board and district and this entire corruption cycle is that, again, we have something with the, like I said, the person that broke in, the guy that was kidnapping kids, which we're finally getting to, where this here is the whole report. Now, I have to lay up a little bit of groundwork. So first, we have this here where the school has a safety posture, reference sheet, or what to do when things happen in terms of levels. So you have shelter in place, lockout, and lockdown. So shelter in place is an announcement will be made that a shelter in place is in effect due to weather-related issues and non-specific bomb threats or an emergency that requires the building operations to pause. It goes on stuff like that, right? So that is the big thing. We're not going to go into the other stuff there because we just need to read the top. The lockout is an announcement will be made that a lockout is in effect due to an emergency taking place in the vicinity of the school. Exterior doors and windows should be locked and outside activities are ended. Classes will continue as usual. You have lockdown, which is an announcement will be made that a lockdown is in effect due to an intruder, serious or imminent danger that pose life-threatening risks taking place in the building. 911 must be called. Law enforcement will take over the situation. Teachers should direct students to the closest room and remain there. Teachers should take attendance. Teachers should lock doors after making sure all students are inside. And then goes on to say here that teachers will take attendance of all students in the classroom, et cetera, et cetera. It says teachers should direct students to sit on the floor, away from the door and farthest from the windows. Do not talk. Do not pull window shades down or block view from outside, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, that's what we have here. Well, the reason why I'm laying out this foundation here is because the problem that we have here is that they didn't do any of these ones besides the shelter in place one, which is insane because we have an issue with that because we have this here with the person that was trying to kidnap these kids. It says during an active intruder gaining entry into the school building through the museum doors, the school staff were never instructed to go on lockdown, but only a shelter in place as it's very scary and real incident was in process. I do know that the AP was attacked by this man as he attempted to gain entry into the second floor hallway, and that he successfully made it into a classroom on that floor, causing destruction of the classroom and its contents. After the police arrived and the intruder was apprehended in the museum, nothing in regards to further safety precautions was taken or offered for the students or staff of school number 959 that day. The children and staff were not released from the building, and the day continued as if nothing happened. Parents were also not made aware of the incident until a letter went home with every student the following day. So, as you can see here, they failed the lock-in shelter place. So they failed in the lockdown situation. They were supposed to lock this down, but no, they didn't. They only did the shelter in place, and the kids were able to, this man was able to do this type of stuff, right? Well, it gets a little bit worse than that because now we have more information with the whole situation that's been going on with this because here's the letter that we have here that they gave the parents. which may or may not receive to all the parents because they give it to the kids, says, "Dear parents and caregivers, as you know, safety and the well-being of our students is a top priority." You're clearly showing that it's not. On Tuesday, February 11th, we had an incident where a man entered our school through the museum without permission. In response, the school was placed in a brief shelter in place, and we immediately notified the Buffalo police, who responded within minutes and arrested the man. The school is also using this as an opportunity to evaluate and reinforce its safety protocols, which you didn't do. To help ensure that something like this doesn't happen again, district officials and PPS security also met on Wednesday with museum leadership to discuss the situation. The Buffalo Public Schools crisis prevention and response teams and other support personnel have been and will continue to be available to students and teachers. As parents, you may want to walk with your child as well. If your child exhibits any indication of emotional distress, we suggest you listen to him or her. If they need to talk, we'll answer their questions simply, honestly, and possibly over and over. Again, please feel free to call the school with any concerns or questions you may have. So again, that's what we have here with this school in question. It's quite insane, and it's just crazy. So what we have here is that we also have the school trying to fire multiple people in this aspect. It says, alleges that the district violated sections 209 of the Taylor Law when, after the 5 members of the Riverside Studies Department engaged in protective activity, the district took the following actions against elected Federation Delegate Chairperson Mark Bruno and elected Federation Delegate Ronald Davis III. Placed Mr. Bruno and Mr. Davis on administration leave and filed charges against Mr. Bruno and Mr. Davis, and whereas the proper so they tried to fire their staff multiple times and failed because they didn't have actual good reason to fire them whatsoever. So they were doing that type of stuff, and we have this here now. One of the people that we have with this school is kind of a problem because again. They have this DA, which I may believe is Mark Crane, and this guy here has been known to have a DUI problem. And it sees that he was trying to escape custody and injured a police officer in the process. And he was also a defendant that was observed driving without lights on the wrong side of the road and attempted to lose officers. So, he even went on a high-speed chase with this guy, which is fantastic. And, of course, we have this here where the actual full report, it says driving while intoxicated and with a back over 10% or point. He has his crime was assault second, crime resisting arrest, police of end of Homewood Avenue, etc. So, this guy is not a good person. So, it just goes to show, guys, that this school is ripe for corruption, ripe with people just being bad. It also shows another picture too here that if you are a person that is a criminal, you're bound to allow other criminal acts go because you are a bad person. So therefore, you were allowed to do if you're in high position of power or of authority, you're allowed to bypass other crimes here. So again, this is just something that we have where we have people get into high states of power that should not be in power whatsoever because they have crimes. And I'm going to go as far as say, if you've committed a crime, you probably shouldn't get a job. I know that's rough, and I know that's bad. And you guys can write the comments down below what you believe. But I think that we have too much evidence to where we're showing that people that are committing crimes, that committed crimes, are bound to let other crimes go if they're in places of authority, that you have to allow certain things to go through or whatever. And this is a huge problem. So, we have that. So, again, guys, that's what the story is. You can, if you want to follow up more, you can watch the Unsubscribed podcast. It will be down in the description bar below. You guys can watch it, along with some other things here as well. They'll also have a description down below to where you can report to the FBI about these school things if you want to do it. I'll probably have the tip thing also down here as well in the description so you guys can see it and go down and report it as you see fit. So, it's crazy, guys. This school is beyond corrupt. Everybody is a bad actor in this, except for maybe some of the school, teachers that are just trying to do their jobs and be good, and it just doesn't seem to be doing anything. So hopefully everything goes well. Don't worry, Angry Cops and everybody is on the case, and we'll see what happens. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.